Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And my video unboxing the Simon Says Stamp August 2024 card kit. This is the Graceful Flowers card kit. Disclaimer, I work with Simon Says Stamp. The kits are sent to me each month. I don't have to do these unboxings or anything like that. They're just fun. This one, I'm a little extra excited about because I have no idea. Usually by the time the kits get to me here in Canada, they've been revealed. It's usually after the release. So I've seen a few things, you know, I'm not going into it completely blind. This one showed up early. I have no idea. I'm excited. So, like always, I will have links below to not only the kit, the subscription service, because you can subscribe. You're not locked in. Just FYI, all that info is with the links that I'll provide. The kit, the subscription, everything that's available separately, and then whatever I decide to make, I'll link to all the supplies as well. Those will all be in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links, end up placing an order, I get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. It's what helps pay the bills, fund the channel, all the things. So let's switch the camera down. There we go. And let's look at this kit. So, this is the Graceful Flowers kit. It says flowers, so I'm immediately like, I will probably love this. Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot in here. Ooh. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, got everything? I am... Oh, we get distress spritz. This is going to be fun. Candy. Can't go wrong with candy. I always have those are good little snack afterwards. Or during, but I'm not going to like sit here and start having candy while I'm filming. Okay, let's get to... Oh yeah. Well, you guys know, I already love this kit. It has a large floral in it. This is huge. This is a 6x8 stamp set, so this is like nearly 8 inches. Oh, for those of you that love doing the bigger cards, this would be gorgeous also on a slim line. But that is gorgeous. Love it. This is the Graceful Flowers stamp set. So you got this big floral. You have the individual ones and a stem, so that's really pretty too. And then all these like sentiments. I love this like scripty. I love the mix. I always love a good mix of fonts. Love it. There is a coordinating wafer die set for this that is separate. It doesn't come with the kit because coordinating wafer die is huge. Huge. But it is an add-on, or, you know, you can get it separately, and I'll have a link to that below. Love that. That said, you do get a little die set in this. Look at this one. This is the beautiful Buttercup. How cute is that? So you get little Buttercup dies. I need to see. I'm pretty sure the maybe the size on here is fairly accurate. So I'm just curious. Are they about that size? Yep, they are. Just a nice little size. You guys know. If you watch any of my content, I love little florals. Little floral wafer dies like this. These will go really nice with those mushrooms that I've done like how many videos on now? Well over a dozen. Those are cute. Love them. Love them. There's a 3D embossing folder as well. This one's gorgeous. This is the Blossom Swag embossing folder. That is pretty. So pretty. Put a sentiment. Rather. Love it. Love it. That's really pretty. So you get that. There is 3 colors of Distress Spritz. These are new from Tim Holtz Ranger Distress. I've done a couple videos using these. I've only used, like, I barely touched the surface with what you can do with these. But if you have no clue, one, you're going to get some in the kit to play with, which is sweet. But go to Tim Holtz YouTube channel. He did an entire video explaining, showing, demoing, doing all the things, you know. You want the info on distress products, go to the source. Tim Holtz does perfect. So yeah, you get 3 in this. That's fun. That is fun. Love it. Love it. You get a little sampling of ribbon. You can actually use these to color this ribbon. It can be done. I've used it with the mica stain sprays, which are just slightly different from these, in past videos. Same sort of idea. It is super messy doing it, but it's really fun. It's really fun. So you get those. You get a microfiber, one of Simon's new microfiber cleaning cloths. These are just handy. I use these. You guys see me use microfiber cloths all the time. I use them to remove the excess anti-static powder off my cardstock. I use them. This is what I wipe my brushes on. You know, when I'm switching between colors, that sort of thing, cleaning up, all that stuff. So you get one of those. You get a sheet of foam squares. Always, always handy. This pattern paper I am loving. This is Paper Rose Botanical Blooms pattern paper. I love the colors. I love the colors. This is beautiful. Look at it. Oh, it's just pretty. This is giving me ideas for like watercoloring and stuff. These are gorgeous papers. Gorgeous papers. It's always hard for me to use the papers in the kits. I always want to just hoard them. These are really, really pretty papers. I loves them. So you get those. You get one of the new A7 envelopes from Simon. I do love their envelopes. Are self-adhesive. Love it. So just another hint to like make a bigger card. And that's actually, oh yeah, and an A7 card base as well. That's always nice. This is with Simon's 120-pound smooth white cardstock. Love. This is like my go-to cardstock. So you get a card base and the envelope. You also get one of the pre-scored A2. This one's black. I don't know if you can even see the score line, but you get a pre-scored card of that. And then there is cardstock, one of my faves, sea glass, lavender, and then some watercolor paper. Because, you know, hello watercolor with this image. I have no idea what I'm going to make. This is the kit in a nutshell. Let's get back to this. I'm like getting ahead of myself. So this is the kit in a nutshell. Just all beautiful. I love these colors. Love it. And then we got Spritz and a bit of ribbon and that and that. An embossing folder and an adorable little die set. And then just gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, love. Yeah, I have no idea. My brain is going a mile a minute. But the magic of, you know, technology and video editing, just stay tuned because I'm going to show you guys what I decide to make right now. I couldn't resist doing some simple watercoloring and I ended up making 3 cards. So I took the watercolor paper that comes in the kit and I trimmed it down. And I'm going to heat emboss the florals from this set onto the watercolor paper by stamping it with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So I'm going to use my little anti-static powder tool first. And then I'm going to stamp the images with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink and then heat emboss them with clear embossing powder. And like I always say, you don't have to heat emboss like this ink to watercolor with. You could just stamp it and then watercolor. I just prefer to heat emboss because it gives the raised edges. So it gives me the little bumper pads, keeps things a little more contained. I don't have to worry so much about like painting next to a wet area, things like that. And plus I just like that it gives it like a shiny finish as well. So stamp the image with the Nocturne ink and then I'm coating it with Simon's Detail Clear embossing powder, tapping off the excess. And then once I've got everything coated, I'm going to melt this with my heat tool till everything is smooth and shiny and melted. So tilting it back and forth in light, especially with a big image like this, I take a minute. This is all sped up in editing, but in real life, real time, I take a minute, tilt it back and forth. And with larger images especially, there's usually a spot here and there that I miss. So hit that with the heat tool, we're good to go. And then I stamp the stem and the individual flowers as well, which you'll see when I go to watercolor them. And to watercolor them, I'm using Simon's Pawsitively saturated inks. And I grabbed inks in colors, like for the florals. For the greenery, I'm just using Sprout and Field. And then for the florals, I chose colors that would kind of go with the Distress Spritz sprays that come in the kit. And again, you'll see why when I get to that point. So I'm just smushing the colors of ink onto my little palette here. And then I'm just going to paint it with, I've got off to the side, I have my jar of watercolor or my jar of water and then a watercolor brush. And again, I super sped this up in editing because I'm not doing anything too crazy. Basically, all I did with the greenery especially, I go in with the lighter color and then I drop in the darker color. And then I take a bit of the yellow and I pop that in as well because it's just fun, you know? And it's interesting when you watercolor with like stamping inks that are water reactive like this. They just behave in interesting ways. They'll kind of like push each other around in a sense. Like when I drop in the yellow, it literally pushes some of the green out of the way. I don't know. I like it. It's fun. And when I said like heat emboss this, keep things contained, I wasn't too worried. I wasn't working like super carefully at keeping everything like inside the lines because I'm going to turn this into somewhat of a hot mess. It was all intentional. There's method to the madness. So with the other greenery, I mixed in mist ink just to give it kind of that, a little bit of a hint of teal to that, to like mix up the colors a bit. I even created a little bit of sludge there. Just, again, giving everything, because there are different types of leaves, different types of greenery, different shades of green. And then with the florals, I just had fun with them. I was just mixing up colors. Like this bloom, I used the mist color and then was dropping in carnation. Was that the one I used? Yes, carnation. So you get kind of like pinky, purpley sort of look to it. And then this one, I was using butter, and then I drop in some honey. And then this one, I'm using like the carnation and then peony, and then dropped in the really dark shade, which was raindrop. And then this last one I went in with a little bit of the peony and then dropped in the honey. Was it honey I used? Yes. I have like all my ink pads off to the side. And then you mix them all together to create sludge, mud, brown, perfect for flower centers. So could have used an ink pad for that, but it's all sitting on the palette. You mix it all together and there you go. You got brown. So once I did that, I'm going to do the exact same thing to the individual pieces on the other piece of watercolor paper, just like so. And I just have to wipe off my palette where I had the lightest green because I had a bunch of water in there and I don't want to absorb that into my ink pad. So I just wiped it off, smushed more of that lighter green, and then painted the greenery the exact same way I did on the large floral. So did the lighter green, dropped in a bit of the darker, added just little bits of that yellow. And then for the floral, I did the same thing because I really liked those two colors together. That was mist and carnation. It's just fun. Yeah. So and then this one, same idea. I did the little bit of the carnation, a bit of that peony color, added a smidge of that raindrop, and then used my mud mixture for the flower centers. So once these are painted, I let everything dry, and then I'm going to spray directly over them with the Distress Spritz. And if you aren't familiar with these are just shimmer. There is no dye or anything in the liquid. The liquid is clear, and then it's just shimmer. And they spray like a spritz, so it's not solid. So I've done a couple videos using these so far. I still need to like play with them some more, but I had a good feeling that this was going to work. So I shook them up really, really well. You gotta shake the devil out of them, as Bob Ross would say, And then I just sprayed them right on there. Just splotch. Love it. And then you just gotta let it dry. So sprayed them on there. I used all three colors, and then I set that aside and let it dry. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Spray the colors, and then I just let it dry, which didn't take very long because, you're not just like super heavily coating any of this. So I did also have the coordinating wafer dyes, which is very nice. I talk about this a lot. I will fussy cut if I need to, but if I don't have to, I will always go for the coordinating wafer dyes. Anything that saves me time, man. So I use the coordinating wafer dies, taped them into place so these don't shift when I run them through my die cut machine. So got everything taped into place and then die cut all of these florals. And then once I had all of those die cut, I took a piece of black cardstock from my scrap bin, and I'm going to white heat emboss one of the sentiments from the stamp set. I decided to keep things all simple and just use the same sentiment on all 3 cards. I really like these sentiments. One, there's nice sentiments, but there's something, certain fonts just pop out at me and I'm like, I love it. I love it. So same thing, anti-static powder. And then I would ink up the stamp with just clear embossing ink. And then I just keep shifting the cardstock up in my MISTI so I can get 3 sentiments stamped. And then these I coated with Simon's Detail White embossing powder. Tapped off the excess, removed a couple little random ones that still wanted to stick around there. And then I'm going to, same thing, melt these with my heat tool till everything is smooth, shiny, melted, good to go. So once these are melted and you give them a minute to cool off, I use the microfiber cloth. I use that to remove that excess anti-static powder so you don't have that white cast on the cardstock. So I remove that, and then the coordinating die set die cuts the sentiments as well. So I'm going to die cut all these sentiments with the coordinating wafer die. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tape them into place so that this doesn't shift at all. And then I'll just repeat the process, die cut all the sentiments. So after I did that, I decided to keep these cards somewhat clean and simple. Also, you guys know, splatter and shimmer. Like, these distress Spritz were made for me. Like, my inner magpie is losing its mind over these things. So I took my card bases and I folded over a piece of just my grid paper. That's just to protect like the inside and the back of the card base, because I'm doing this directly on the card base. And I've talked about this. I don't do this very often because I make a mess. So usually I prefer to do like a separate panel. It's just safer, but I was determined to make this work. So I would just spritz those all 3 colors onto each of these card bases. And all my cards, I stuck with A2 this time, even though that big floral, you 100% could do a larger card. But I do mostly A2 size cards, and that was the mood I was in when I was making these. But anyway, spritzed all those, same thing, let them dry. And then for the card with the large floral, I folded the card base inside out to fit it in my MISTI. Added a little bit of tape, just extra insurance to kind of hold it closed, because I want to stamp that large floral on the inside of the card. So I got everything lined up here. And then I'm going to stamp that with the lightest pink shade that I use for the watercoloring, so the carnation ink. So got the inside of my card there. Got to press that back down because, it doesn't want to stay where it needs to. And then stamp that floral. And then for the other 2 card bases, I'm just going to use the individual stem and the flower. So I just lined up that stem, same thing, stamped it with the carnation ink, and then removed that card base and did the same thing with the second card base. And then I'm going to take each one of the little flowers and stamp that, attach it to the stem. So that'll add that little extra something to the insides of these cards. So once I've got that stamped, I'm going to take another one of the sentiments from the stamp set, and I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to stamp it with that VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink. And just stamp it right on top. So I'm going to line that up, stamp it. It's another thing I love about the set. I love this sentiment. The world needs more people like you. It's like, yes, great sentiment. Perfect. So I stamped it on the inside of these 2 cards, and then I needed to move it to stamp on the other one. And I've shown this in other videos. I'm lazy. I didn't want to clean my stamp off. So I just used my little grid alignment to move the stamp around and not get any ink smeared over the card. So that's what that's for. So repositioned the stamp where I needed it to be, and then got it back onto the lid of my MISTI, removed the grid alignment, stamped that onto the inside. Now all the card bases are ready to go. And then off camera, I just die cut a couple scraps of the same white cardstock with one of Simon's basic rectangle wafer dies. And then I'm going to adhere the individual florals to that. The stems I'm adhering directly with the Craft Tacky glue, and then the blooms I decided to pop up with foam squares as well as the sentiments just to create that little extra bit of dimension. So got those adhered into place just like so. Did the same thing with the second panel. And then for the big floral, I arranged it on the card front like where I want it to be, flipped this over, use my pencil to just trace where the edge of the card is going to be so I don't put any like foam squares where they don't need to be. And then I just used the foam squares and stuck them into place. And then pulled off the backing and then lined up the card base with those pencil lines, pressed it down, and then I can use the edge of the card as a guide to trim off all the excess bits, just like so. And then I'll tuck in the sentiment with this one, just slightly underneath the die cut. And then for the little rectangle panels with the individual florals, those I'm going to adhere with Simon's Big Mama foam tape. Just give it just a smidge extra dimension, but not a whole lot. So got that on the back of there, and then made sure to put the floral on the card that had the same floral stamped on the inside. Would it be the end of the world if I messed it up? No, but I've made that mistake in the past, so now I make it a habit to actually pay attention. But I'm sure I'll do it again at some point. Anyway, got those adhered into place, and then also decided to add just a little extra bling. So I'm going to use my Simon's Starshine confetti here. So just kind of sprinkled those onto each of these cards, adhered them into place, and that finished them off. So now I'm going to turn on my flashlight and show you guys just how sparkly these are. Oh, chef's kiss. Love. Shimmery, sparkly, splattery goodness. So fun. So like I mentioned in the video, I will have links to all the things in the description box. So if you just expand the description box, I'll have all of the links, the link to the card kit. You can check out the subscription option if you're interested in that. All of that will be linked directly below. I will also post a link to my blog. And of course, in my blog post, it's the photos, picture links, a little easier to navigate. I'll also have links to all my socials, all my social media stuff. That'll be in the description box below as well for anyone to check out who is interested. And then just stay tuned because I'm sure I'll have more videos coming using this stamp set because I love it. I love it a lot. And these colors are super fun, and the Distress Spritz are too. So definitely check it out, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in supporting me over on Patreon, the link to that is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye.